Marshall, and we're going viral.
Let's go viral.
Seahawks took down the Vikings last night 37-30. They improved to 10-2 on the season. And with conversations of Seattle being the best team in the NFC starting to pop up, there is no question that their touchdown celebrations are tops in the league. Breaking out another choreographed dance last night, one that looks like they worked on this for a while.
Listen, Nick, being there last year, this is one of the things I would not participate in. I was too old for this. They want to say, oh, let's come up with this
like
touchdown
they really
dance.
all sat around?
Dance every week. This was part of our meetings. We would literally spend an entire receiver meeting.
Stop it.
Yes, coach would say, hey, what are we doing this week?
No.
I swear.
Really?
Yes.
I love
Nate
that
Carroll,
so
Pete
much.
Carroll's son, the receiver coach, he would literally give us 30 minutes, say, okay, what are we doing this week?
But that dance
30
right there
minutes,
came out. You at least were old enough that this dance here came out before all these dudes were born.
That's what's so great
That
about
takes
it.
some real practice.
Listen, they were coming up with things. I'm like, where do you guys get this from? Like, I mean, they're awesome. They
So
literally.
you were the old man yelling at a cloud.
Yeah, I mean, Doug Baldwin was able to do it. For me, I was like, I'm too old for this.
Nothing makes me happier
I'll
than
take the
spending
pictures.
30 minutes going over the touchdown dance.
I
Here
love
we
it.
go. I love it.
Nate Carroll, I love him.
Time now for some stories to start your morning. Yesterday, Carmelo Anthony was named Western Conference Player of the Week. Portland went 3-0 last week behind 22 points per game, just under 8 rebounds from Melo. So the last time Melo was named a Player of the Week, March 10th, 2014. I was in 9th grade at the time.
9th grade?
Yeah.
2014?
Yeah. Brandon, how awesome is this?
You know what? Don't take me serious, but take me serious. MVP.
Stop it.
Last 3 games, 3 wins, 22 points, almost 8 boards,
Brandon.
57% from the field,
That's the
and
important
45
number.
from the 3-point line.
That's the important number, the efficiencies.
Yes.
The 3-0 and the efficiencies. I can't believe this has happened. I have been for 3 years the resident Carmelo Anthony defender on this show, and then Brandon Marshall Anthony comes on the show, and you've just totally taken that corner from me.
I can vouch.
I'm very happy for Melo. This is a very questionable Player of the Week award.
What?
Come on. Luka gave you 39-9. Anthony Davis gave you 31-11 this week. Now his team was 3-0, and this was a "we're happy for you" Melo award, and I am so happy for Melo, a guy that's done so much for my university and I think has been disrespected across the league the last couple of years. And he is. This is, so far, LeBron's talking about, revenge season. This is, at least for a week, a bit of Carmelo Anthony revenge season. The Blazers got Dame back, started winning games, which is critical if they're going to climb back into the playoff picture.
So quick.
Hashtag washed Melo. On to the NFL now. Cowboys wide out. I was joking. Wide out Amari Cooper, a free agent after this season. However, he recently came out and said that he wants to stay with the Cowboys, that he loves it in Dallas, that he doesn't want to be anywhere else. Nick, what do you make of Amari's comments?
Amari's going to be on the Cowboys next year, whether he wants to be or not, and it's good that he wants to be. A little nuance here, because of the teams are going to have a franchise tag and a transition tag, which basically means even if you don't come to an agreement with 2 players, you'll be able to tag them, as opposed to the normal years, it's only 1 player. It's an anomaly, happens about once a decade. That's this year it's going to happen. So he wants to be there. They want to re-sign him, and even if they can't come to terms, they can use 1 tag on Dak, 1 tag on Amari. He's going to be a Cowboy long term. We also knew that when they traded a first-round pick for him, Brandon.
I love this. As a wide receiver, it makes so much sense, okay? And this is why it makes sense. As a receiver, you want to have a running game. Why? Because it gives you one-on-one coverage on the outside. So you have Zeke. And then you have a young quarterback that you can grow with who understands you. When you go play with other quarterbacks, it gets really tough. So I love this for Amari. I love this for the Cowboys. Please get this done.
Brandon, you said you played for 6 or 7 teams and 16 or 17 quarterbacks, correct?
Something like that.
Yeah,
I can't even
That
name
ain't
them all.
great.
Yeah.
That was well explained, though. On to the Eagles now. Yesterday, Doug Peterson took the blame for his team's struggles on Sunday, saying the Eagles' lack of discipline and consistency is on him. However, if the Eagles win out, they will still get into the playoffs. Nick, you buy what Peterson is selling?
No, I buy that Doug Peterson at this point is like he's a pilot on a plane that's going down. He's just at this point mashing buttons. Like one of these got to get the autopilot turned back on. And we've seen him try to go to every card. The nobody believes in us card. The everybody believes in us. We're way too talented for this. And so he is right now flailing a bit because his team is flailing a bit. Do I buy, though, that the Eagles can make the playoffs? I do. And it's hard to say because the schedule's so soft, because part of the soft schedule was Miami, but they were up 14 on Miami in the second half before the meltdown. I still think Philly can make the playoffs, but I put them in the exact same bucket as the Cowboys, a team that will be host a home playoff game that they will be a significant underdog in, and I'd be shocked if they won.
Here's why I'm buying this, right? Let's look at the other side of the division. The Cowboys. Did we hear this from Jason Garrett? No, we did not. As a player, you love this. When your coach stands up and says, this is on me, and he falls on that sword, you want to run through a brick wall for this guy. This is why they won a Super Bowl. But it's also why it could be their biggest problem, because they think they're a really good team, and they're really not that good. But this coach finds a way every single week to motivate his team. He says the right things. He pushes the right buttons.
Okay, well, he's got to find it. Maybe he can push it. He's just got to find it this week because he lost in the second half.
Hey, give him credit for trying. On to Monday Night Football now. Kirk Cousins threw for 276 yards, tossed 2 touchdowns, but he still came up short against the Seattle Seahawks. Kirk Cousins now 0-8 on Monday Night Football. Here he is after the game.
I think that this was an opportunity we missed, and it's disappointing. But you know, I think tonight we were able to at least show a resilience, and you're going to need that to be able to you know, win in December. And then if you do take care of business in December, we have, I believe, 4 games left. If you do take care of business, then you know, you get a chance in January, and that's really what we want to do.
Nick, this is the knock on Kirk. Big games, national games, important games. He doesn't really show up. Does his struggles in prime time make you worry about where he can take the Vikings into the playoffs?
Well, I'm worried about the Vikings in the playoffs, but it's not because of Kirk. To me, this would be unfair to him. He has been so good the last 2 months. And he's got 23 touchdowns, 4 picks, and a 112 passer rating on the season. And yesterday,
ever since Stephon Diggs wanted out, he showed up.
And since then, he's been playing at an MVP level. And yesterday, I understand Trey Flowers got the pick on the sideline, and that was a great play by Trey. I don't know if it was a terrible throw by Kirk or not, to be totally honest with you. And it's another loss on prime time. It's another loss on Monday Night Football. It's another loss to go along with this narrative. And by the way, the Vikings are going to be the 6th seed, which means they're going to be on the road against either New Orleans, Green Bay, Seattle, or San Francisco in the first round. They're going to lose that game, and it's going to be another primetime game he loses, and this narrative is going to continue. But this year, he has played great. He has played up to his and exceeded his contract. The Vikings, if there's accountability to be had for last night, it's the overpaid defense, not the overpaid quarterback. Kirk Cousins didn't allow, what was it, 37 points in this football game? If you'd have told me the Vikings are going to score 30, that should be enough against Seattle. Especially, you mentioned the Seattle's only 2 losses this year have come at home. It's not like they've been invulnerable at home. So Kirk this year has been the exact guy Minnesota signed him to be a Pro Bowl level quarterback that raises the tide of the offense to go along with a dominant running game. The defense, whether we saw, was it Xavier Rhodes and the safety Harrison Smith kind of talking on the sideline after that coverage bust, the defense has not been close to the dominant defense of 2 years ago that carried them to the NFC Championship game with Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry, with Case Keenum. So I understand the numbers are overwhelming, that Kirk, as the stage gets brighter, his play gets dimmer. I don't think last night that was the case, and I don't think this season that's been the case, Brandon.
Nick, I've always respected you, and I've always considered you extremely smart. And I'm so happy to hear this morning.
You were worried,
right? Because it's so easy. It's so easy for us to pile on here and say, Kirk isn't the guy, right? 0-8, we led with that. He's now 0-8 on Monday Night Football. That is the storyline now. Unfortunately, these guys get paid the big bucks because it comes down to wins and losses, right? Like, when you look at the quarterback position, they're going to talk about, did he win? When you look at every other position, they look at stats. They look at numbers, okay? But at the end of the day, the reality of this situation is this. There's more than a quarterback. This falls on everyone. So when you look at this game last night, if they had Adam Thielen, they win that
Difference
game.
maker?
Oh, yeah.
Cooks went down too, didn't he?
Yep.
Right? But all we're talking about now, Tuesday morning, is, oh, Kirk is not good. Oh my goodness, he's overpaid. Oh my goodness, he just shrivels up on the big moment. But the reality of the situation is, if you take this historic run that Lamar is having right now, this historic season that he's having, because he's kind of being disruptive. He's not doing something. He's not doing something that like the league has never seen before, but he's just doing it at an extremely higher level, right?
If you removed him,
if you remove him, he is the MVP. If you just from a pure number standpoint, you have Kirk and then you have Russell Wilson right there. I truly believe
if you took Lamar out of it. And here's the other element that I think people have to understand. Vikings played 12 games this year. In 8 of those games, Kirk Cousins is at a passer rating north of 110. That is an outstanding game. They are 8-0 in those games, which means since they're 8-4, in the 4 games where he hasn't been great, and there's only been 2 games, I would argue, this year that he's been bad. They're 0-4. Right. They have not been able to do for him, hell, what the Kansas City Chiefs did for Patrick Mahomes this weekend. They scored 40. Mahomes did not play well, but the defense held Oakland to 9, and the rest of the team picked him up. We have seen even a game this year, Lamar, I would argue, this weekend against San Francisco, played okay, but not great. His defense picked him up. The Vikings have not had a single game this year where Kirk plays poorly and they win despite it. And I wouldn't even say he played poorly yesterday, just wasn't great, and the defense couldn't pick him up.
The other problem is if somehow they managed to keep that $84 million guaranteed hidden so the public and we all didn't know about it, there'd be a lot less focus on just Kirk Cousins moving forward.
And it's going to be unfortunate that they're in the NFC this year and that they're going to be the 6th seed and losing the